gosh, y'all. This is Trey coming at you with some crazy Trey talk on a Wednesday, and we are so grateful for you to be here. I am an alternative health specialist. I'm an internationally known medicine woman, and mostly I'm excited and I love sharing information about how our mind works, how our emotions work, how it works in our body. And oh, there you are. Now let's make her mod. And okay, do I even have, oh, okay, it helps. Hello. I don't even have my speaker on. Thanks for joining us out there, Jason, in Clubhouse. Dude, I didn't even know I was muted. I am so sorry. Well, you guys, I was so fired up when Karla told me, this is Karla. This is Big Hug. This is Karla. And guess what? Karla is going to be a reoccurring guest on Trey Talk TV. So not only am I happy for you to start meeting her, but you guys, she is freaking amazing. Let me just tell you some stuff about her. She's an author. Do you know how long I've been trying to get this book out of me? So I give you kudos for just getting it done, girl, because you got kids, you got a life. Whoo, you know how it is. It ain't easy to get stuff done. She does so much empowerment stuff. But Karla, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Karla Docter. I'm an embodiment coach, author, speaker, blah, blah, blah. But really at my core, everything that I'm about is all about helping elevate, empower, educate, energize, and equip women with the skills, tools, and resources to live their best life. I mean, to heal from the trauma, the BS, the labels, all the ish that people have thrown on us, and really just feel safe coming back home to ourselves and being able to live ourselves fully expressed.
That is so beautiful. And as an internationally known medicine woman, I understand that this is really where any discomfort in your mental body, your emotional body, or your physical body comes from. It comes from either something that came in your bloodline, because we get more than just our beautiful looks, our curly hair, and all of this from our parents. We also get, can I just not get on Clubhouse? I'm going to thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you for reminding me, Karla. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get this going, you guys. Okay. So I'm just going back. I'm sorry, T, you didn't hear me, but that's my sister probably. Hey, thanks for joining us. We are talking about how energy works in our body. And the great thing is that when you realize or believe that there's a source that can be reached, then you can go after it. And trauma does some stuff to you, huh? Karla, what do you want to share about some moments of impact that you've had? Because girl, wait till you hear just some portions of her story. Just let's share about today, matter of fact. Oh my gosh. Because people look at us and they think, oh, you guys got it all together. You're doing this, that, and the other. You're an author. You're an empowerment person. Then, they think that we have these, I don't know, like lives where we don't have moments of impact anymore, or somehow we don't get thrown off course, or that we don't get emotional or feel the woes of the earth or whatever, right? So Karla, please, let's get this conversation going.
Yeah. So one of the things that kind of came up, so you want to know a little bit about me or my journey?
Shoot, girl, whatever flows out, you just let it go.
So, when you were talking, something that kind of came up for me that I was thinking about was, my first kind of journey in trauma and all of that was 15 to 25, unhealthy relationships, right? And through all of that, got the download, started working in a professional setting with survivors. And fast forward then 12 some years, like I felt this yearning for more and started my coaching business. But through all of that, it was actually someone who I had met on Clubhouse, and her story was freaking incredible. And I was like, oh man, like I need to connect with this woman. I just felt this draw to her. She was making waves in domestic violence and sexual assault. And I reached out to her and she's like, "Oh, Karla, you're an author too, right? So what would you like to contribute to my book project, Overcoming Heart Blocks?" And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." We've got a we got
Oh,
a
oh, there. No, sorry. Okay. Go.
Hey.
Sorry. All right. We had a, oh my gosh.
Slow. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Multitasking.
she was talking about these heart blocks. And when I first started writing that chapter, I thought it was going to be about getting pregnant, going through a separation, just quitting that job. But really what I realized was like how healing was a journey and not a destination. I had thought that I had healed that, right? And it was like, it's understandable, right? When we are sick, we take medicine and then the medicine makes us feel better and then we forget about it, right? But like with the whole healing thing was that I wasn't giving myself time to heal and to process. And for me, I was seen as the leader, right? So I had a team of volunteers and the directors over all of these different programs, and I had to be strong for them because they were seeking me for strength. And then I couldn't be seen as weak by my senior management peers because I had to keep my ish together. And so there was so much pressure there, but I never gave myself the time or the permission to be able to sit back and actually like go through that. And so it was a big eye-opening journey that I was like, wait, like this whole thing is a journey. And then when we talk about like pleasure and love, like and abundance and manifestation and all of those pieces, but it's the journey that we're actually after, right? Like we think
Yes.
it's this thing, we think that it's money that we want, or we think that it's love that we want, but really what we're after is the journey, but we're not taught that. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, exactly. Exactly. And so we're so focused on the end result, right? Just getting past the goal line that we don't realize that the whole reason we're here is to gain the pieces, that the journey, each moment of impact is part of your box of wisdom. And so like Native way, we say, you earn the medicine you keep. I mean, you carry, right? By the moments of impact that you've overcome. And then that's what gives you the medicine to help others, whether it's in communication. That's why people come to you for answers, right? Because they know you went through it and they're like, oh my God, Karla's got the answer. So, okay, go ahead, continue your story.
But I think that's just it, and this is even something that I've realized most recently. So I've been on the prosperity and overflow manifestation journey. And it's interesting because it's what it takes to manifest or to attract love or this cup of coffee or my coffee mug. I think there's a funny story behind
Yes, I don't know. Yeah.
it. Says, I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Um,
I love it.
When you see my signature on stuff, I sign it Karla Docter, BFD.
Because we're going to be whatever we want, right?
Yeah.
We get to, oops, now let me forget the clubhouse. All right. So either way, it's like awesome because we get to be the designers. We get to be the designers of what we want. It is so amazing. So if you want to add whatever you want to your name before, in the middle, or after, I love it because whatever you feel, it's like that's what should be being represented. So what do those initials stand for?
Big frickin' deal.
Woohoo!
But and part of that was it was a joke. It was a joke when I worked at the nonprofit. And at this point, I was one of the staff directors, and my leading up manager that I oversaw all of the sexual assault programs. And I was joking one day and I said, Deb, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal. And it's a movie quote from Anchorman. Like it's not something that I just was like, hey, today. And I come from Milwaukee, and we come from a long line of sarcasm, and when I moved to Oklahoma, like, people didn't get my sarcasm here. But she's like, "Well," and she points at my office mate, and she's like, "Christy's a big deal because she got Achiever Under 40, and Jan's a big deal because she got Woman of the Year, and so, and well, you're not there yet, but, like, you're on your way." And I was crushed and mortified, and not only was I crushed and mortified because I already I came to this job with all sorts of insecurities. I'm like, I've
Mhm.
never led a team before. I've never done any of these things. That whole fake it till you make it imposter syndrome
Yeah.
was all over me and on my back. And when I went on with this, I'd come to find out, like, she really thought that I was serious even years later. And there's this whole, like, I could feel the energy balance between us versus them in this office space. But when it came down to it, um, I think it was part of those things that it helped me because it pushed me. I was like, "Oh, well, in order to be a big deal, I thought that I had to have all these fancy titles. So
Yeah.
you know what? You bet your sweet tail. I was nominated for Woman of the Year and recognized as 50 women making a difference in Oklahoma and 40 under 40 and 21 under 20 of the 21st century. And I got all the accolades, but it didn't mean anything."
It doesn't. It doesn't. And it's kind of like when you're heavy and you lose weight and you look good, but you still feel fat and you just can't even absorb that perception. And I so get it because I've always felt like so big inside, right? And then when I would put it out there before, people would give me that feedback and I would let the energy or their disbelief in whatever they saw in me or whatever, like I would adopt it as mine. And then I would get all, back into I got to prove my worth, back into that vicious cycle. Oh, okay, here we go again. Well, I'll work harder and and I did the same thing. Girl, I have countless employee of the month awards, employee of the quarter awards. I got stacks of papers, but it didn't make me feel, I guess, validated? Do we want to say validated?
I think I guess something that's like appreciated and like accepted. I think a lot of it's acceptance, right? Like we want connection, we want acceptance, we want to be accepted by others because connection is such an important human need that we don't
Yes.
talk about.
Yes. And then, okay, keep going back to Clubhouse. Okay, and thanks, Tina. That is my sister, Tina, out in the audience. I love her. She's so supportive. She's my big little sister because she's the oldest, but she's shorter. So I'm like, she's been my big little sister mama for my whole life. I love her so much. She is my mom that I didn't have because our mom didn't want to have kids, and she got stuck with being the oldest. So, so she got us by default. And let me tell you, it was so funny because even in my teen years, I told her, I think I realized that I rebelled against her. I didn't kind of rebel against my mom as much. You know what I mean? It was so weird how you create these dynamics, just like you were telling about your boss or about your coworkers and their perception or not perception of how we move forward and what we do. But when the reality is when we get into our purpose and passion, we don't even care. But it's almost like when you're not in it, that's why you still feel like, I call it like a screen door, like how you have all the holes and the wind blows through you. But as you heal the traumas, as you start finding out where those roots come from, it's like those screens fill in it and you get more sturdier, and then you could stand and you have more clarity about experiences you are not going to have anymore or put up with, or belief systems that don't serve you anymore, right? Because who cares what your boss is? That was been my side, that I needed a new boss, right? But it's like I was one of those people that I would either, depending on my mood, I would either just quit because I didn't care because I knew I could get a job tomorrow, or I would try and prove you wrong, right? Depending on where my mental and emotional and physical state were at the time, right?
Yeah, that's fair. But like for me, I looked up to this woman so much. Like I thought she was a badass. I mean, she is. I mean, she had a PI. So my background was like criminal justice, psychology, forensic science. So like that was something that I was
So she was kind of like a mentor then, right? Is that what?
she was totally a mentor. And you or she was well-meaning, and what I can understand now, right? Like now that we know, and I'm how self-aware, and all of the mirrors and reflections and projections and all the stuffs and shadows and all the stuffs and things, that, she was just projecting onto me what had been projected onto her, right? And so then I come in with this lifetime to be able to help remove all of that, to know that the people that surround me, that what they say or do is a mirror or a reflection or a projection of something that I have within me that I need to work on. Because it's not whether or not somebody did something or said something that hurt my feelings. It's because there's something within me where, either I was the rule follower and I have to follow the rules, therefore you have to follow the rules. So now it upsets me that you're not following the rules because I have to follow the rules and I really don't want to follow the rules. And you get to not follow the rules. And this isn't fair. Right. And it's
Yeah.
all like inner child, like screaming, crying type sensation.
Exactly. Stomping their feet and having all this time. Yes, I so get it. I so get it, girl. I do.
So that just kind of led me on my on that part of the journey, but it was like really going back then and allowing myself that time and space to heal and to feel, right? And I had put up so many walls that I had completely disassociated from my feelings, right? As an empath, like we're working with survivors. I'm reading thousands.
Amen. Here goes that word. We went there, people. We went to the empath. Okay, so if you don't know what an empath is, Karla, please let them know.
I would just say it's somebody who feels what other people are feeling. They take on, there's a very fine line. It's very easy for empaths to be able to take on other people's pain and feelings as their own, and having a strong recognition of being able to understand what's mine and what's not, right? And for the longest time I was just carrying everybody's stuff with me, right? And that's a heavy bag. That's a heavy backpack to carry everybody else's stuff. And so like reading all of these stories and doing all of these things, and then my team, and then the systems failing, survivors, and then, like not having a voice, still not like I couldn't be a survivor. I was always just Karla Docter, blah, 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 and it just, I felt so silenced, and I so desperately wanted to be able to shout from the rooftops, but still felt so silenced behind all the politics of organizations and all of that. I mean, well-intentioned, and I'm still a huge advocate for them and part of their young professional board and volunteer and do all this stuff. And that's still all part of my higher mission and purpose. But the real like Karla Docter BFD needed to emerge.
Yeah, exactly. Because what people don't realize is when you have these moments of impact, it literally fragments your soul to a certain degree. And so that's where you get the little holes in the vent that make things breeze through you, that you lose your confidence or your security or whatever. And I love what you said about the mirror, because when you get to the other side of the healing, then you realize that we're always mirroring. We're always mirroring the like, so either way, we are reflecting to whoever is in front of us something they either like or don't like about themselves. And then secondly, their reaction or response to our mirror is our healed or unhealed response. So if we can respond in a way that's like, oh, and you're just the secure mommy, and you that you don't lose your confidence or your footing or whatever, then you've healed from it, and you're helping them to reflect something, right, to help them to heal, right? But if you, like Karla said, are triggered, if something weird, then that's your work. And it's all when you realize that every single opportunity has come for us to help you, again, because it's the journey. When you start paying attention to the journey, those are the puzzle pieces. Because when you get to the end of your puzzle, y'all, I feel like that's when you get to check out. So You don't care what the picture looks like. So pay attention to each little piece so that you can get the wisdom of either how to heal or just these things. Noticing, first of all, that you are reacting or responding in a way that doesn't serve your highest good, right? That doesn't make you feel good. That isn't high vibing, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that it's like when somebody else, quote unquote, makes me feel a certain kind of way, when an emotion is being triggered within me, now I have the self awareness to sit back and say, oh, where am I disrespecting myself? How am I devaluing myself? Right. So whatever that feeling or emotion is that we think somebody else is making us feel something, then it's like, how maybe am I doing this to myself? Where am I not being within self-integrity, or how am I disrespecting myself? And a lot of it is when we don't feel safe to be ourselves. We feel that we fear judgment and abandonment and loneliness and all of these different pieces. We're going to be stuck in that cycle for a long time until we can self-actualize and accept.
Exactly. And when you okay, so when you think about it, let's just throw out some scenarios here. So when you were a kid, and like for instance, I had my cousins and sisters always telling me, "Oh, your hair's so ugly because it's curly," and everyone else had straight hair in my family, and then the feather was going on then, and everyone had the perfect comb back and the perfect lines. And girl, this wasn't getting ever perfect. I don't care. And then if I try to blow dry, no, I was crazy. And then I just looked like an Afro girl. I don't know. So it was just not working right. So when you realize that these things come from when you get this feeling of insecurity, what happens is your emotional body has chronologically logged every single time you have ever felt any kind of way. And it has logged every sense in your environment, whether there was a smell, whether there was a sound, whether there was, a feeling. These things are logged. So sometimes we get triggered by them, whether somebody repeats the words exactly the same as somebody who abused us or hurt us or mentally or physically in any kind of way, right? Or belittled us or whatever, right? So then that's what triggers this emotional feeling and this anxiety feeling or whatever of that. Oh my gosh, you go into protection mode. So what happens to me, what I think happens is the emotional body then, based on whatever sign symbol that one of the five senses picked up, it triggers this thing. So then the mental body goes, hey, wait, I'm here to do one of three things: teach you, motivate you, or protect you. So it's like, oh my God, I got to teach you to run. I got to protect you from this scent. I got to move you away, whatever it's trying to do, right? And then your physical body is reacting, whether it's getting goosebumps or you're feeling your like Karla said, you're kind of tucking in like she did, and you're withdrawing within yourself. So then these are things, people, we just want to know you to know that these all can be healed, because once you start doing the work and healing them, then you're like, oh, I got this from blah, blah, blah. And one of my root things, okay, you guys, this is the craziest thing repeatedly that it took me years and years and years of healing to finally, like the onion, go the layers and the layers and the layers to a core root that when I was 4 years old, I wanted to be a ballerina. I knew I wanted to dance. I wanted to dance. And my sister even told me I wore a little tutu thing for years. She said until it either fell apart or I couldn't fit into it anymore. And I was just like, I'm going to be a ballerina. And when I told my dad, you know what he told me? He told me, you can't be a ballerina. You don't got the body for it. And when he told me that statement changed my whole trajectory of belief system for me. And it could be something just that small, because your recipe of how you perceive things emotionally and mentally and physically are all based on a unique recipe. That's why, like siblings, we can all hear the same. Like when all of us heard our parents were going to get divorced, all of us reacted and responded completely differently to that information, right? Because it's based on your perception stuff. So, oh my gosh, this has been such helpful information, Karla.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think one of the big things that was calling to me was the whole oh shoot, what was it that you're saying? Oh, you were talking about like the senses and how everything is recorded. And I think, we don't have to necessarily understand the moment that was the pivotal thing. Like universe is throwing these quote unquote triggers at you, shoom, 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 at all different layers. It could be something somebody said, the car that cut you off in traffic, whatever. So I was doing this, I was playing with money, right? I was talking about money and prosperity. So like one of the downloads that I got was that I needed to go take out a chunk of money from the bank and like play with it. And I was like, ooh, this gives me so much fear because I was robbed and held at gunpoint. I was robbed and held at gunpoint in college. My house was broken into. My purse has been stolen. My car's been broken into. I've had all of these things where money, like it wasn't safe to have nice things. People wanted what I had. So if it wasn't safe for me to have money, then if I didn't feel safe having it, then universe is going to try to protect me from
Yep.
being victimized.
Okay, and people, that's a moment of impact, just so you know. I keep saying that, but that's what I mean.
Yeah. So I was like, oh boy. So I go and I take out this money and I get into my car and I'm like, oh, I start tapping. So I use a form of RRT,
Yes.
rapid relief technique. And that's one of my favorite tools because it helps me get to the root of the thing it is that's really bothering me. So as I'm like speaking this stuff, oh girl, I started getting into this whole fit and rage. And it wasn't right. So like the feeling that I was having was anxiety, right? And I start tapping on that. And then I start having a conversation with the person who robbed and held me at gunpoint. You don't have to be face to face with somebody to have a conversation to release the pain and the sorrow and the anger and all of that within you, right? So I'm like having this I'm driving and I'm just letting it go and I'm crying. And then I bring up this person and then this person and then this person and this person. And I don't even recall what it was that it came down to, but it could have been something as simple as how rejected I felt or how victimized I felt in second grade when someone stole my favorite pencil.
Yes.
We don't have to understand.
Yes.
But when you allow yourself to feel all of the feelings and to release it, the big part is, and where we get stuck as humans, is we become the emotion. We're supposed to feel it and release it, not become it. And so this is a pivotal moment for us because we like to stay in the emotion. Just because you're having the feeling doesn't mean you have to continue to have that feeling. Like feel it, release it. It's okay to be mourning somebody and still experience joy in your life.
Exactly. And when you realize, because see, in my belief system, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional, when you receive a moment of impact, if somebody socks you, you are going to have a physical bruise. So when somebody impacts you mentally or emotionally, you are receiving this energy. And the thing is human behavior teaches us to stop the release. So for instance, when your adrenaline's going and your amygdala is all hot, and then you have actually left your body, your little soul, because you are not safe, right? And until you get to that moment, that's what they call you going to shock. And usually once the paramedics get there or whoever, once you realize you're safe, that's when the shaking starts. And that is your body trying to release this moment of impact that just happened. But what do? We're taught to stop the shaking, to stop the release, to suck it up, that you don't need to cry. What are you crying for? Like, be brave. Like, no, we are so programmed wrong. So first of all, we have to unlearn most of what we've learned. so that we can let this release on a cellular level. That's why people are like, okay, people don't understand why. Okay, I do all this work with talk therapy, but talk therapy works on the mental body. It doesn't help the emotional body. And then they wonder why they could be going really good. And then all of a sudden they're right back to zero. Why? Because that root cause has not been dealt with. This is why I love talk therapy. I did it for years. I did, and I needed it to learn how the mental body works, but I knew it wasn't a total fix. It is a partial fix. So when you realize your body is working in like 4 major systems, lots of people say there's more, some say there's less. Either way, I believe that there's a mental body, a physical body, an emotional body, and a spiritual body, the 4 primary things. And most people leave them separated. They don't realize that there's a way that you can work in totality. And this is like Karla was saying, when she had to show up at work as a partial person and not can't be this, or shouldn't share this, then it's like you're living a divided life, and you can never be your powerful self if you're just living in a portion of your greatness, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that's like one of the hardest parts of it all, right? But then it's like, oh, who am I to make waves? Because we've been taught that we're not allowed to have opinions, or, you know, we could spiral down that whole conversation rabbit hole too, right? That it's like, as women, we're supposed to be polite and mind our manners and listen to adults, and we're not really allowed to have an opinion. And so it just, you you're not safe to be in your body. You're not safe to express yourself. If you do, you're too much or too loud or too bossy,
Yes.
too much of a bitch or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
everything.
Yes, exactly.
We're not enough, and we're not good enough, and we're not worthy, right? And so it's like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. And we're stuck in this balance. And it's like, all I want to do is be myself, but I've been told that it's not okay. Or I tried to be myself, and then this bad thing happened to me. So now I feel like it's not safe, right? And so we're constantly in this.
Yes, and you know the worst part of it all is this is the total setup for molestation, for all of the inappropriate stuff, because for centuries we were to, oh, just kiss uncle, go kiss whatever, and we were literally trained to go against any feeling that we had of insecurity or whatever. Oh, just do what they're told and blah blah blah. And guess what? Most people who get abused from somebody who's close to them. Because why? That's why they have access to them. And why? Because we're told, just listen to them, just do what they're saying, don't talk back, don't whatever. So we're taught to mentally shut down, we're taught not to question things, and these are like opposite of every single thing. And this is where I go, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, they all need to be exercised. They all need to be nourished, and they all need to rest. But you have to figure out what that is for you, right? Because we're all running a unique recipe.
Yeah. Well, and safety in the home is the thing, right? Like, our home is supposed to be the safe space, as is our body.
Mm-hmm.
And so when those things are violated, and we're taught against, like, children are born very intuitive, but we tell them how much not okay it is, and how to go by the book, and that's just weird or whatever. That so much of that is silence, and trauma helps silence our intuition too, right? We don't trust ourselves, therefore we don't trust guidance. It took me a long time to be able to tap in to my intuition, because I didn't trust it, because I made the mistake of aligning an intuition with a decision that I had made, and something bad happened, right? So then I hated making decisions, because I was afraid if I made a decision, something bad would happen. We try to, like, friends, we'd want to go out to a restaurant, and they're like, where do you want to go? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't want to choose, because if I chose this restaurant, we had a bad experience or somebody got sick, like, I couldn't live with myself. And it was like,
Yeah, then it's your fault. Now it's your fault, right? And exactly, so get it. And it's hard. And then being an empath and already perceiving everybody else's stuff, it was so interesting navigating what I wanted, because I swear, I felt like I was the runaway bride. Like I didn't even know what my favorite egg was because I liked whoever I was around. Because I didn't know because until I knew I was an empath, I didn't know why or how or why. Like I would get all excited and think I wanted to do whatever when I was around so and so. But then after a day or two, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound exciting to me at all. But it took that because energetically, it's like cologne. I tell people energy is like cologne. So, you know, that old lady cologne that you could smell her 3 rows away. You don't even have to be near it because you could smell it. Some people, that's how their energy is. And it takes longer and because again, this is what I learned. I was the old lady happy energy to some people, and that is not right because I was overwhelming because I get so excited and so and I was like, oh my gosh, you're throwing all that energy out, and people didn't ask for it. Some people want to just not be hit with too much, but either way, it's I understand now and take responsibility for the energy that I create around me because it's like cologne.
That's I love how you depicted that, right? Like that the whole cologne story, right? And to some people it's too much, and to some people they're like, I still can't smell it like I can like, or it's like perfect and they can never get enough. I was listening to this book this morning, The Power of Fun. And it's like I you're like thinking about like who are your fun friends or the people that you have fun around. And I think so many people are attracted to me for my fun vibes and energy because I could have fun no matter what, right? And I think that even when I was sober, I was 7 years sober, and nobody could tell the difference from when I was sober or drunk. Like they thought I'm like, oh man, these people just think I'm drunk all the time.
Okay, I don't know if that's good or bad, but that means you're awesome. Yeah, so I would have loved to party with you because then that means you were a happy drunk.
Well, I was I was I was a hot mess express,
Oh,
which was like it was it was the pivotal moment. So for after like the assault in college until like 23, I was 23 when I got my DUI. So the DUI was an eye opener. And that's when I was able to be like, how did I get to this point? And so that's when I went back. I was like, I got sick once when I was 15 from drinking, like had control, no longer had control, but I was playing out all of my traumas. I was happy one second, crying the next, punching the table, and all men are this, and just raging, and then dancing on the table, and then crying, and then happy and laughing and dancing, and I was all over the place.
so do you think that some of the root was the assault and being robbed and all that, or
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
because that's when it sounds like it amped up for you, right after then, and then you were
Yeah.
probably trying to drown it,
So
escape it.
right. And I didn't know that at the time. And that's what I had figured out after the DUI. And that's why it was like one of the best things that ever happened to me. But going back, I was like, I'm 20 something in Milwaukee. Like, what we do is drink. It's part of the culture. We're known for our beer, like it's a whole vitamin. I'm like, what else do you do?
Exactly.
But,
Exactly.
but
And it's what everybody else is doing, right?
it was
Or
so,
the majority of
yes,
the people.
yeah. And it was so easy to have a drink and to not have to think about those things. Going back to that cognitive mind. So like the alcohol just kind of shut down that piece. And so I didn't have to really feel the feelings. It was playing out and being expressed in all of the different ways. But it was definitely not like, I mean, alcohol is just going to enhance where you're at, right? It doesn't make anything go away. But like I said, it took me a long time of drinking for me to figure that out. But then after the DUI, I was a bartender. And so I was a sober bartender, and I would pretend to do shots people would want to buy
Sure.
me. And you
Yeah.
cannot like
I
rationalize.
watched how you could pretend. Yeah.
But I'm like, sure, you can buy me a shot. And I would do cranberry juice and sugar-free Red Bull. So I'd be all jacked up on caffeine. Everybody thought I was wasted, but they didn't know the Karla before.
Yeah, so they didn't know what they were experiencing or not experiencing, right?
Yeah, they just
So
thought I was a good time.
how in the world did it move into this spiritual, holistic Karla? I can't wait. How did that transition?
So the transition really started. I took a manifestation course, and it started with that. And I thought, I was doing vision board workshops and all of that, but not really associating that with a spiritual aspect. And it wasn't until I enrolled in this one program when it was like the real, like digging into the mind, body, spirit, soul, like the whole thing, doing the shadow work, the inner child work, the healing. And so it was partially from that, because what happened was I had gotten pregnant. I had my vision board baby. I was pregnant. And so I was 3.5 months pregnant. And I said, the only way that I'll quit this nonprofit is by death or pregnancy. And I got pregnant. So I'm like, okay, I guess.
Okay, so that just means you got to be careful what you keep praying for. Be careful what you praying for, woman.
Yes.
It might come. It will come.
So I was like, okay, this is my life raft. Like, I've been given lots of opportunities, and this is my life raft, from 70-hour work weeks, on call 24/7, like all the things. So I put in my 2 weeks notice because I got this job offer that was like a cushy, easy job, 40 hours a week, equivalent pay. I was like, okay, I'd be silly not to do this. So I took this opportunity. So I put in my 2 weeks notice. It was my 10-year anniversary at this organization. And that weekend, 3.5 months pregnant, found out that my marriage was over, or could potentially be over. And it was like I fell off of a 50-foot cliff into the quarry, which I've actually jumped off a 50-foot cliff into a quarry. I don't recommend it. But basically, like, I fell, and then like I bounced off a bunch of rocks, and then I hit the ground. And then when I hit the ground, like, I thought I was done falling, but then like the ground opened up and I fell some more. And
yeah,
it was everything I knew, like, was now gone, and family is 1,000 miles away. And how the hell am I going to do this? And am I going to be a single mom? And how am I going to be able to take care of my kid? And how am I going to pay my bills? And couldn't sleep. And like, so I was going through all of that, and I sat in this uncertainty and question and waiting to figure out what that was going to be. Meantime, I was then pushed full-time into entrepreneurship by universe. It's another, okay, I get it. Like, no, Karla, you weren't supposed to take this job. You were supposed to do your own thing. Like, you have a message to share. But,
exactly. And who gets thrown into entrepreneurship, right? Because again, we are programmed and trained to stay in business, to keep working that program, not this program. And especially, you were going to college. Most people, they're like, no, you're going to college for a reason.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, right? Like, you work hard, you go to school, you get a job, blah. That's another episode. So I've been following this woman for quite some time. I actually met her in Milwaukee at an event. I was able to get this. I manifested a free ticket to this event, met this woman, thought she was incredible. I wish I would have enrolled in her program when it was $250, but I think when I did, it was like $2,000 or $3,000. But anywho, don't miss out on opportunities. When people have like a really great opportunity for you, or like a founding member, and you're going to get lifetime access, take advantage of that if you know that they're going to be a big deal. Like, if you feel called or aligned. So Anyways, I enroll in this program, and the inner worksheets that she's having us do, I was taking those to my counselor. And so, like, I was teaching, because this is what I do. I love to
Yeah,
learn,
you teach
and
your
then I love to
counselor,
share.
right? Yeah.
Learn and share, learn
Yeah.
and share. So I'm, like, teaching her all the things that I found out about myself and taking my personal responsibility for things, and this is where and da 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 da, and I'm basically resharing and teaching her all of this stuff, and, it was good. I paid her a lot of money to sit there and listen to me repeat all of the things that I had already self-discovered, and a lot of that reinforced lessons for what it is that I do and teach now. But that's when the spirituality aspect really came about, and I went through kind of my spiritual awakening and kind of going through that whole part, and it was like I had gone through this dark night of the soul, and it was just
Hmm.
whole crumbling of everything. And then what came
Amen. I know that dark night.
as a result, is just this whole next level, but it all stemmed from the love that I have, the love and acceptance I have for myself, which ties this back to like the beginning part of this conversation when we're talking about these other people and these triggers. Like, are you a fair weather fan of yourself? You love yourself when you do good, but when you do bad, you're like, oh, you're an idiot, you're dumb, and all those like giving up. Like, you are the one person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. What is that
Yeah.
relationship? And the people that you're attracting into your circle, into your community, into your home are just going to mirror that level of love that
Yes.
you have for
Which
yourself.
is why it's so important that we get clarity and self-esteem and all these things for ourselves so that then we can stand in our greatness. We can, like you said, share the information confidently because it's key. This is the whole reason why we're learning is so we can help share because everyone is helping to get to your next level. Your next, it's like, and it's so cute because like when you first started, how you were sharing, how you were perceiving the actions. I was like, yeah, I call it like the amusement park. So some days I'm at the financial amusement park. Some days I'm at the, you know what I mean? At the get your business going work amusement park because I had to make it fun for myself because it isn't always fun and you have to find a way to push through or else you can't make it. And this is so key is just always going back to trusting and believing that you are here for a reason. You are here for a purpose. You are divinely created. You, thank you. Matter of fact, for joining this live. Thank you for being here. All the people who have been on and come through the clubhouse streets. And you guys, I haven't even reset the room and we're already almost out. This is the Laugh and Learn Luncheon. And beautiful Karla Docter is our amazing guest for the day. But you guys, she is going to be rocking Trade Talk on Boss Lady TV with me multiple times. I'm quite sure we're going to see her here again because her and I have some divine um, mission that spirit or God, creator, whoever you subscribe to, whatever that big energy you want to call, whatever label you want to put on it, has aligned us perfectly. And we both knew that from our first conversation about Trade Talk that this was going to be something awesome and something major that is going to help the healing because Karla is just like me. We are passionate about healing because we know what it feels like to be broken and have to deal with all of these additives because I don't believe that some people understand that their physical body is perceiving stuff too. So, like as an empath, I perceive energy that is here or seen or unseen, I'll say. And when you're navigating that on top of life and everything else, it's like when everybody's built uniquely. Scientists have a unique brain. Athletes have unique bodies. Empaths have a unique perception. We are just have the ability to perceive thoughts and emotions more easily than other people. Our body has determined that all of this is valuable information, whereas the rest of the world, 80% of the world, it's been the studies have shown. I have studied this inside and out and I had to know I'm a Capricorn. You better show me. I had to learn quantum physics level all the way to the root. how to heal, because I had to do it. I was paralyzed. They told me I wouldn't walk again. I said, double backflip to you. My body's always healing. You don't get to tell my body what to do. And that's what you need. Whatever gets you out of the frozen mode, because right, we're either in fight, flight, start fighting, fight for yourself, fight for your safe environment. Like Karla said, get clear on when you're not feeling safe or when you're starting to have triggers, and be the detective. I always call it be the detective, because once you start doing your detective work, you're going to start finding the answers and the keys to your puzzle. So Karla, girl, we want to honor everyone's time. So I want for you to please share with this amazing audience all the things you got coming up. Please tell them where they can get your book. I didn't even get the freaking image so I could be posting it on here, but feel free to drop it in the chat so that we can put the link. But girl, tell them all the amazing things you got going on, because she's on Clubhouse, girl, she's on Instagram, she'd be rocking. Go for it.
Well, thank you. There's one thing I wanted to tie in. Part of what we do, right? The fight, flight, or freeze. And we shame ourselves for the freeze. The freeze is, again, one of those survival mechanisms. And if you look at mammals, right, they freeze, play dead, right? And then they shake, right? Somatically,
and then they run.
They shake, and then they're like off, like that's them not recording. Like that's like they just pulled that tape out of that VHS, chipped it,
let it go,
right?
Or like the ducks after they get in the big fight, right? And then they
shake it off. And I had to shake some stuff off even before we hopped on this call. But one of the things when we were talking about that, but also like the fun part, right, and bringing more fun, that I like to subscribe to, the more fun I have, the more money I make. And the more that we push and try to come up with the answers, that is what's going to keep you in search for them, because the energy that you're putting out there is more searching energy. When I get the download and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to work today. And it's a beautiful day and I just want to go lay out in my backyard in the sun. And so I'll like lay out my blankets, and I've got my 18 beverages because that's how I roll. And I've got my music popping, and I've got all this whole thing, and the whole vibe's going, and I feel the warmth of the sun. And I just lay there with my journal. And then all of a sudden I'm like, ideas start flowing. So when you can get into that space of doing things that just for you, there's this misconception where we don't pay ourselves for the value that we give to our own lives. And so if we could pay ourselves $100, $200 an hour to do the things that provide value to your life, washing your face, brushing your teeth, playing with children, laughing, connecting with awesome, badass people from around the globe, like helping, sharing, teaching, laying out in the sun. If you could pay yourself for that value, you'll magically see all these other things come, because again, it's about the journey. If all we did was keep on reaching and grasping for the next best thing, right, then we're never satisfied. And it's about being satisfied on the journey to the thing, knowing that the thing is coming. But it's about having that joy, peace, and satisfaction without it, and knowing that it's coming. And so, it's hard, subconscious language and all of that, but to really just be in that space, to know that it's possible, and having the belief that the more fun that I have, the more that I value myself, the more that I take care of myself, the more all these other things are magically going to come, because the how is not up to us. We're given one step at a time. We're given one step at a time. Because if we knew the whole route to get there, that's not very fun, is it?
Yeah. And again, when you go off of what you're thinking, your mind is trying to teach you, protect you, or motivate you. It is not trying to ascend you. It's not. It's trying to teach you, protect you, motivate you. So this is the whole thing of the empowerment and getting past it. And this is why Karla teaches us how to do that.
And that's what I do. But I am here on the Clubhouse, on Instagram, on Facebook. So all social media platforms. I'm Karla Docter. That's Karla with a K, doctor with an ER. I am not a real doctor. I was just born this way. And so it's fake doctor because it's not even spelled correctly. So Karla Docter on all the social medias. I do have a private community for women called Embody Pleasure and Prosperity. And so I go live in there and share different affirmations tools and kind of the purpose there was because when I went through my spiritual awakening, I did it in solitude and didn't really share my journey with people outside of my close circle. And so as I'm going on the prosperity journey and being an overflow, I wanted a space where I can share my learnings and teachings as I'm experiencing it as well, and just kind of having fun and being a detective with it all. And so that is the link in my IG bio. You can find that, or you can message me on any of the platform and just say the word group, and I'd be happy to send that over to you. And right now I'm enrolling in a program called The One, which is really taking you on this healing journey, coming home to yourself, right? Again, you are the one you get to spend the rest of your life with, and really finding that self-love, that forgiveness, taking you through my manifestation process and embodying the version of you who already has the love, the fulfillment, the joy, that whole thing. So if you're interested in that, I'd be happy to have a chat. But I've got all sorts of fun things. January, I have EMPOWERCON, which is my annual retreat. And so that is like, I've been experimenting with the length of time, but last time it was a 3-day premier virtual experience. It was like a retreat where we went through learning the art of self-hypnosis and tapping and breath work. I'm a revelation breathwork facilitator, Reiki, energy, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, girl, let me just tell you, the therapist told me to breathe for 2 minutes when I was gone. 3 weeks later, I went back crying. I can't do it. I can't. So well, I would have loved to have you then. I've conquered it now, but.
Well, and that's the thing, that it's like we want these things, but we can't receive it. And so here is air. It is one of the most abundant freaking resources that we have. We never worry about whether or not there's going to be enough air for us to take our next breath. And it's there for us, but we're not even taking it all in. We're just breathing it into our chest.
Yes, because it's so shallow, right? So shallow.
And it's like breathing deep, and it's like allow the breath, receive the breath. Okay, everybody here.
All right, we're doing it.
Let's just breathe. Let's just receive a breath all the way down to our belly. It's just. Let's do that again because it wasn't deep enough. All the way down to the womb, all the way down to the pelvis, in through the nose. Receive.
Woo, girl, I am feeling relaxed and reset already. So see, you guys, this is why you need to connect with Karla so she can help you not only realign, but move into this calmness, because this is when your spiritual body is the loudest, when you allow your emotions and your mind and your physical to get the quietest. And that doesn't mean always have to stop. I don't meditate by yoga or self-pose. I meditate by motion because I'm ADHD. So find your way. There's no wrong way. But this is Trey, you guys. I am so excited to announce I have so many things coming up. I am doing my first Indigenous Ceremonial Healing Retreat in Costa Rica, July of 2023. And you guys, that's a limited spot. And as soon as I announced it a couple of weeks ago, I already got 7 spots filled. And there's only a max of 40 people that could go, all inclusive food, all this stuff. But in the current, you guys, I'm super excited. I just finished logging in my amazing next workshop. So the next workshop I'm doing, it's called Master Anxiety. You guys, anxiety comes from different ways, and I just want to help you start getting the clues so you could be the detective behind your anxiety. So please, you guys, I put it in the comments. I would love for you guys to join me. It is going to be May 26th, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. It is for free because I am here to help. Trey Talk coming to the big screen in this fall. So if you have a story of empowerment, if you were broken mentally, physically, or emotionally, healed and empowered yourself, and now are like Karla, doing amazing things to help others, like myself, doing amazing things to help others, please, I want to hear your story. Hit me up on any of the social medias. I'm here for you. And with that, we are going to close out this amazing clubhouse room. You guys, thanks for all the visitors. Thanks, Sister Tina. Thanks for all of our viewers. We had viewers on my Facebook profile groups, on the YouTube. You guys, I am so grateful that this Lunch and Learn is growing so quickly. You could be anywhere at any time, but you chose to be here. So I'm sending you guys so much love and so much healing. And I can't wait until we see you again. You guys hit up Karla, my girl. Thanks, Karla, for being my rescue today. She is my love.
I was like, in an hour?
Well, we spent an hour. I guess for the last hour.
No, I meant like when I thought that I had to be like ready in an hour. I was like, I don't know.
Oh, you're so cute.
Thank you. This has been an honor. And to everybody who's listening, I'm sending you all so much love, grace, and gratitude for your time and energy. And I hope and know that you should have been able to pick up some seeds. And even if you listen to this again and again and again, that each time that you listen to it, you're going to be able to pull a new seed from this. We covered a lot of stuff here, and Trey, like your energy and your love, and I just so appreciate you. And you are making moves, babe.
You too, girl. Thank you so much. I attract like-minded, awesome freaking energy. So I mirror that right back to you. All right, you guys. We are mirroring love and light to you guys. We got this. We're going to do this together. We're going to get those triggers. We're going to heal those old wounds so that we can grow and thrive together. All right. This is Trey signing off with some Trey Talk. We will see you again next Wednesday.